A very warm welcome to Not Why But How, a policy podcast where big ideas meet real action. Presented to you by the NALSAR Public Policy Group. At Not Why But How, we believe that good ideas are just the beginning. What truly matters is making them work. No ivory towers, no endless debates, just sharp, practical conversations on turning policy into action. My name is Saundarya Nair.
And I am Shritama Goswami, and we are delighted to host for this episode of Not Why But How, a highly accomplished trailblazer in the field of public policy. Our guest today is Ms. Hoang Phuong Thao, who is an expert on tax and financing for climate change with a focus on gender justice. She is the Executive Director of ActionAid Vietnam, which has served 4.6 million Vietnamese people. She has also worked closely with ASEAN and EU. Today, we would like to have a conversation with her to explore career avenues in the field of public policy.
So we thank you again, once again here, Thao, for joining us for this conversation, and we're really looking forward to learning a lot from you. So just for starters, could you tell us a little bit about how you were first introduced to this field of public policy? Because for a lot of us here as law students, I think a lot of us come with this vision of social justice, but our vision tends to be a little restricted to the field of law when we start off, and it's only throughout the years that we learn about these new kinds of avenues like public policy. So could you tell us a little bit about how you were first introduced to this field and when you realized that you want to work in this as a full-time career?
Thank you, Chandria and Sritama, for this opportunity. I have about 30 years of experience, working experience, and meeting and learning online is not a strange thing for me, but today is very special. Thank you. Maybe it's not necessarily the choice at the beginning because of the history. You know that I come from Vietnam, and in the entire last century, 100 years, Vietnam only enjoyed 6 years of peace. And the rest of 94 years, we keep, struggling with different, let's say, enemies or big countries who sometimes wants Vietnam to be their colony, sometimes wants Vietnam to be the tool to find the other side during the Cold War, and sometimes it's just an excuse to test new let's say arms or weapons. So it's still for a lot of people, Vietnam is still a war, but we are also a country, not just a war. And therefore, a lot of my childhood time, we were just taking what was available. So it is not a choice of going through the law or policy or public management. And my first degree, also very common in my generation in Vietnam. And my first university degree was on Russian literature. So maybe it doesn't do anything with public policy and management. As Vietnam started opening up in 1986, we have a renovation program called Đổi Mới. The country is opening, and for the first time, we started learning English as a foreign language in the university, in the schools, and it appears to me like okay, this is a new horizons. New way of seeing how the economy is going, and what can we do about it. I got my master degree in economics and public administration, and that is also the first time I can select, because I also have the choice of going through MBA, which was very popular that time. For the first time for many Vietnamese, let's say younger people, MBA it's more potential and more how to say profitable as a promise. But that time I was working with NGO already for a few years, and I think maybe public administration can be more relevant to my need and my interest. And yeah, I was among the first batch of students learning about this in English in Vietnam at that time. So yeah, it's not necessarily the choice at the beginning, but it's come from the relevance to the work, and it comes from the the long history of the country.
Yeah, I think that's a really enlightening answer, because for a lot of us in India, we hear and we read about the Vietnam wars, but then to see that lived reality through people like you and through stories like yours, that's, I think, really important to share those kind of stories and to see how it really shapes actions and lives to this day. So I think in India, we have a similar kind of situation, because we have the civil services is what a lot of people try to go for. Because even in India, to this day, we do see the impact of British colonization in terms of like the wealth inequality and poverty that's still there in many parts of the country. So I think Indians generally coming through a similar kind of background would often prefer things like the civil services, getting into the bureaucracy, but public policy is not as common of a field yet. So I want to ask you, what would you say are the merits and also the limitations of such a career in public policy? What kind of impacts do you think that having this career in public policy has allowed you to make? And at the same time, what are some of the limitations that you faced?
Yeah, in fact, this one is a very pertinent question that I am asking myself every day. I'm really blessed to have this opportunity to work with community, serving the community in the past 30 years in the career, not only in Vietnam, but also in other countries. And the more I travel, the more I work with community and partners, I realize that what I learned on public policy management and what I can do about it, it's really meaningful, because I'm contributing, maybe very humble, in a very humble way, but I'm contributing to making change, making the social contracts more accountable, and also building or weaving the future for many that may not have the chance if we didn't do anything. So that is something that I am inspired of every day, and I question myself every day. I think in terms of impacts, one can make different engagement and from different aspects if it comes to formulation of the policy, implementing it, researching about it, monitoring it, or learning from it and having new policy. But the one that I think ActionAid, where I work and myself can contribute to, is bringing the voice of the people who are usually left behind or ignored in the whole process to the table. So make sure that those who may not have the chance to reflect and to demand are being heard. And secondly, at the other way, we also bringing the facility and the opportunity not only for the community but also for different stakeholders to sit together to discuss. So it is about creating space and facilitating so that different people, different stakeholders can talk, can review what is happening and what can we do about it. Knowledge generation, it's maybe a big word, but that one is it's also one of the important part of our work. So I do hope that we all can contribute in different ways to make our public policy more relevant to the needed people, more relevant to the political projects of our countries. But you know, in our humble way, ActionAid and me, I'm you know very blessed to have this opportunity to engage in the whole process.
Ms. Thao, you mentioned that you did your master's in economics, and that was keeping in mind the history of your own country and sort of the consequences of that. So we can see that you are already moving in towards a direction of public policy service, and then you joined ActionAid Vietnam. How did that path look like? How did you get into ActionAid? What was the process like?
Okay. Where to start? I don't usually tell my personal story to the public like this. But yeah, I started working like after the university. Okay, this is a time to reflect. Okay, for you at your generation now, you have a lot of choice of how you want to go to work. You know, even you can work even before you have your degree in many ways, you know, online, offline, official, not official. But for us that time, we only have one choice, that you go to university and then you go out and then you start working, because we have to take care of ourselves, we have to take care of our family. We actually that time many years ago had the target of, you know, having a bicycle to buy by our own money after 2 years of working. I still remember that my first salary was 500,000 dong, which is about less than $20 now. So and I was so, and my family was so proud because I got the job after the graduation, you see. So yeah, it's in a way it's natural that we start working. And I started working in the Ministry of Planning and Investment.
Okay.
Yeah, because they need somebody to how to say, to review their reports and then write summaries for other report. You know, I'm a very small potato that time. But after 1 year, I realized no, this is not what I want. Why? Because you know, the job is very interesting and it requires a lot of thinking, which I enjoy. But that time I was a very young woman, a very young girl joining, and there are a lot of expectation that I have to get married, that I have to you know, follow the instruction properly, you know, meaning that you don't ask questions. And a lot of the time, instead of doing my job, I was told to be washing the tea cups. That's how it works, you know, that time, you know, those time. So I feel like, okay, maybe, you know, I can use my time better somewhere else. So I moved to work for a university because they need somebody to teach in English on international economics. But then it didn't stay with me for a long time, partly because I usually get notice from the dean that, okay, you should follow the curriculum. You should not go out of curriculum too much like that. And also I think I was among very few woman lecturer wearing a dress to work. And that time, you know, because you are a teacher, right, you're supposed to be formal, and for a woman teacher, you are not supposed to wear dress. You have to wear trousers, and it is like a, you know, protest for me. So I keep wearing it, and I got noticed again. So I feel like, okay, maybe not for me. This is what very far from what I think I should follow. So I ended up working with an American company who started working in Vietnam after the embargo was lifted. And I had a lot of chance working in development projects. For the first time, Vietnam received from development partners, including the World Bank and ADB and so on. So I started learning about development, but from the perspective of investment, from the perspective of government ODA projects. And few years after that, I started working with WWF. Obviously not the World Wrestling Federation. So it is a World Wildlife Fund for Nature, and I learned a lot to appreciate the nature, to appreciate the environment. I spent 5 best years of my young days, living inside the forest, counting primates, trying to learn who is a male, who is a female, and so on. It's a big learning. It's really a big learning. So you can see from Russian literature, economics, then to counting the primates in the cast limestone forest between Vietnam and Laos border. Maybe it doesn't link anything to public policy, but all of those experience give me a lot of chance to understand more about people, about community, about the nature, and therefore it really contribute a lot when I started working with ActionAid in 2002. When they first time ever in their history hire a policy advocacy coordinator. Before that, they never have anybody working on policy. That's also a test for ActionAid. And I was told later, much later, many years later, by my boss then, that okay, I thought that it's an experimental recruitment. I don't know how long it will last because it's a learning for both. So yeah, I mean it's very much a learning by doing journey for me. Sorry, I talked too much.
No, not at all. I mean, I think we were
we were enraptured.
Absolutely. I mean, I did not expect that trajectory from Russian literature to counting primates and then public policy when I asked you this question. Yeah.
I mean, you say that it is not linked, but I think understanding people, that is the biggest link
Absolutely.
and advantage that you can have in working in public policies. So I think it's a perfect trajectory.
Definitely.
Everybody should, I think, experience life as such.
Definitely.
It's so inspiring.
And I also
that's why I feel that I'm so blessed. I'm hugely blessed. Yeah. Actually, I want to add here is that I never feel complaining, but the moment, like aha moment for me, about how blessed I was or I have been being a woman from Vietnam was the moment when I visited Afghanistan.
Oh, when was this?
Yeah, please tell us about that.
The first time I came there was 2005, and several time others until 2015. Yeah, 2015. I visited country back and forth again, but yeah, it's really the moment when I felt clearly that okay, it's so great, so happy that I am a woman and I was born in Vietnam, not in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Could you tell us a bit about the experiences or what you saw there that made you feel that way? I mean, of course, we know the context of what the Taliban did and what they're doing right now, actually, but just what you saw, like your lived experience of seeing that. Because for us, we read it, we read it in the news, we see it. You saw it with your own eyes.
Okay. In Vietnam, how to say? You are familiar with Confucius and Confucius philosophy, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And we have been conquered by China for 1,000 years. So it is obvious that that thinking it's so deep in generation after generations, and the main issue for us is that according to that philosophy, women are always inferior. Okay, so maybe I give you two saying that is very popular here in country coming from that philosophy. The first one is that if you have one son, it means you have children. And if you have 100 daughters, you don't have children yet. And according to that philosophy, having no children, it's the biggest sin that one person can have, because you make sure you make your family connection,
The lineage.
disconnected. No more, because you cannot have a son. So that is the first one. Okay, one son equal 100
daughters.
Not even 100.
Not even equal. Yeah, one son is greater than 100 daughters, of course.
And another saying is that a girl, when she is at home, she follow her father. At home, following father. At in-law, following husband. When husband die, following your son. So you have no brain, huh? You need somebody to follow, to be protecting you, to think for you, to protect you, to tell you what to do. So that kind of thinking make it really difficult for us in Vietnam already. But I think Vietnamese women is still enjoying so much more liberal rights comparing to what Afghanistan women was suffering. We can go to work, and we can go out naturally. Many things. So mobility with us is not a problem. Having a job is not a problem, and more now people are realizing that we can have a share in inheriting rights. Of course, the law says equal, but practice is different.
Yes.
So when I came to Afghanistan first time, I think it was 2001. No, sorry, 2006. Yeah, actually 2005 I tried one time, but I didn't get the visa. So 2006 was the first time I went there, and I was on a mission to work with the assembly, Congress of Afghanistan, on how to read budget. It was a global program for ActionAid that time, and I was the Asia governance coordinator.
Okay.
So we were having a training with the member of the Congress of the lower house to how to read the budget, why it is important for the elected representative to read the budget and question about it. So I was in a team with one senior consultant and myself. So we were supposed to deliver the training. When I came into the let's say class, the meeting room, oh man, okay, of course, oh man. So I was the only woman in the room, and of course I was alerted. So I was wearing everything, so nothing show, only my face. But they asked me to go out because I didn't cover my hair.
Oh, yes.
So that was the first experience. The second is that ActionAid was maybe the only NGO, international NGO in country that time, can have 4 women staff working in the office. More than 300 other staff are men.
God.
But we are the only one having women staff working because women are not supposed to work. They are supposed to be at home and so on. So Yeah, I mean it's many more experience, but you know, I truly realized that, wow, oh, okay, so it's not just being a Vietnamese, but being a woman, it's another layer of challenge that one has to go through when you are a woman,
How
especially in terms of public policy.
right. Just related to that, how did it feel like working in such a male-dominated workspace, and how has the landscape changed now? I mean, in terms of how many women work in public policy or charity or social services. How does it look now?
I can't tell you because I don't know in other country, but
For
in
Vietnam.
Vietnam, many women are actually actively working in NGO sector, in social work, and a lot of them are now leader. So, for example, ActionAid Vietnam, we have 100% women leaders
Oh,
for the last maybe 7 years continuous.
That's really impressive.
that's a huge step.
Yeah,
I think it's going both way. It's certainly our efforts, our leadership, but also because for Vietnam, NGO are not necessarily profitable. You know, you
Hmm.
cannot get
Okay.
rich. You
Oh,
cannot
so
get rich. Yeah. So a lot of men wanting to go to business sector,
Ah,
there's that
or
right,
underlying.
going to the government, so that they
Oh,
have more chance to have power and chance to
right.
so
be
there's
rich. So
two
yeah,
sides to this.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's two sides. But I'm proud that in ActionAid Vietnam we have that
Absolutely.
commitment and also support. And yeah, we are very well known in the country on investment to staff development. 19 organizations are now headed by ex-ActionAid.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
very impressive.
Just
Mm.
building off of that, actually, some of what you said, I think, really resonated with us because it's very similar in India as well. Especially the you said about women, having to obey fathers when they're in their father's home or when they're not married, and then husbands when they're married, and then sons in their old age. I think we have almost the exact same saying in the Manusmriti, which is one of like our ancient texts and was supposed to be one of like our first legal code.
Mm.
Right from ancient times, I think we do share cultural similarities in ways that we wish we didn't. But I think also similar to what you said, the scene in Afghanistan and also so many other countries, like recently with Iran, with the protests they were having after Mahsa Amini's death there. I think it really does kind of wake you up as to how multi-layered are the challenges that women face across the world. Because as you said, like for India, on the one hand, you'll have the amount of wealth inequality that's there. You'll see on the one hand, there might be a girl struggling to even just get like primary education. And then on the other hand, you do have women who become very educated and they might be working in like established organizations, but then similar to what you faced in Afghanistan, they might be like having to deal with microaggressions of all sorts. So I think the challenge is constantly ongoing. But I think the story of Vietnam is really heartening to see how ActionAid has like 100% female leadership. So I mean, I'm hoping that, we'll have something like that in India soon. But just building off of that, what would you say has been your one most positive memory so far of working in ActionAid, and also one maybe not so positive memory, or just one kind of limitation that you would say that working in the public policy space carries? Like you mentioned, how one is obviously the fact that it's not very profitable, so a lot of men stay off it. But also, apart from that, is there anything that you wish could change about this space, or that you would change, or you would want, like our new generation to change? So one positive and one negative from the space.
Maybe a lot positive and a lot negative, but because you only allow me to say one, so let me say this. Okay, coming back to Afghanistan before that, I think you mentioned that it's cultural that
Mm-hmm.
we are sharing, but I think it's a lot deeper than that,
Yep.
and it comes from the need for the for the men, for the religion leader to make sure that they control. They have the power over the mind, the body of woman. So that understanding was created, because that created, right? Initially, all of us following, not the superpower of men. We all follow mother. We all follow woman, right? So only when the wealth and the violence of war happening, then men starting to take control. And they are telling story about, okay, if you follow father, you follow your son, then you'll be good person in the society. So I think when we talk about power relation, it's really, of course, it cross the culture, but it's go very deep beyond culture. And also referring to Afghanistan, during my second trip to the country, I got my period.
Oh.
Then for me, it's a part of my life, and it should be natural, right? And then that day lunchtime, I got asked by one of staff, having period. I'm like, how do you know? How do you know? They say that, yeah, you're supposed to stay. You're not supposed to go to the office because it's not pure. So you see that they know that I have my period because I use a dustbin, and they are supposed to tell me to stay because it's not pure. You see how deep it comes. Really? You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say that, okay, there are a lot of things for us to do as a policymaker, policy implementation person, or whatever. We have a lot of work to do. Of course, that is like 15 years back, but it tells a lot. No?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So coming to your question, I have so many things positive to talk about ActionAid, not because I am working with ActionAid, but I truly I'm grateful for what ActionAid has given me and created me today. Why? Because in ActionAid, I have chance to learn new things every day, and ActionAid give me the space to be, confident to try. Maybe I fail, but failure it's also allowed. It's also welcome, and therefore I slowly learn, and every day I have new chance to learn, whether from my colleagues, from my community, from my partners, and come out to the world with a very open-minded. So it takes a lot, and I got burnt to learn that experience. So that is a very positive things about ActionAid. And it reinforced a lot because when I talk to my colleagues who are now heading other organizations, or maybe moving out already, and or maybe inside the organizations, they keep telling that things that ActionAid has done long time back, now we are starting doing it here. So it's because we have chance to learn new things, and we have no fear of failing, because we have the encouragement to learn from that. So that is very positive. The change, like you asked, I like your question a lot. You say the change that you as a younger generation can change, not only ActionAid, but also like NGO sector as a whole. I think NGO sector supposed to be the moral gatekeeper, supposed to be knowledge generator, and supposed to be the person who have compassion and sharing and empathy. So how NGOs can fulfill all of those three very big mandates, and stay fit or relevant to the current turmoil of the world. It's a big challenge, and actually it's no stranger to those challenges. I think we have a problem of sometimes we want to be politically correct, and then we tend not to take decisions when it is time to take decisions. Maybe I lose my job tomorrow. So you so you take it very personally. That I see that ActionAid can do better, and I hope you as a younger generation, when you lead or you work in NGOs, you are aware that okay, because sometimes doing something it's equally important to not doing something at certain moment of time. So we cannot keep delaying and say, okay, we have to be correct when people are dying outside.
I think we are coming to the tail end of the interview. One last question. You spoke about your long career education, then experiences in Afghanistan, all of these, a lot of hardships too. So what advice would you like to give to aspiring public policy enthusiasts who would like to get into the field to sort of be as resilient and, I think, hopeful, optimistic as you are? What advice would that be?
In Vietnam, we are told that never give advice.
Oh.
Because maybe your advice that doesn't mean anything because you are not in the position of the person. No, I'm just saying that you have your experience, you have your knowledge, and you have your conditions, like your environment. And I have never had chance to wear your shoes, right?
Yes.
So therefore, my advice may not be relevant or useful anyway.
It is,
but it is a sharing that I believe that whatever sector you select to work, it's already a big blessing for the organization, for the company that you selected to work for, because you are the hope of your family. You know your value, and you know the journey, the challenges that you have gone through in a very proud journey that you've gone through to here. So don't be feeling that okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, because we can contribute in different positions, as long as we share the goal that okay, we are the humanity, we are the people, we work together, we live together, and we build this world together. Having said that, I think NGO sector will have a lot more fun for those who wants to be having chance to be close to the community, who wants to be how to say very open, with a lot of chance to look into diversity, look in one thing from very different perspective. And NGO sector can also be very rewarding when you inspire others, when you generate new knowledge, so that people use your knowledge for their own decision making and then a better life. And yeah, it's
That's a really nice note to end it on. But I do have one last bonus kind of question. I think the most powerful part, or at least my favorite part of this interview, was when you talked about your experience in Afghanistan and what you saw there and how it made you feel. So I just have a very short question. If you could tell us just one memory, I know I asked you about your memory in ActionAid before this, but just throughout your career in policy, one memory of maybe a different country that you visited or some kind of work that you did where you really felt, I am glad to be doing the job that I do. Just like one small incident, if you could share like that, because I love to end notes on a storytelling kind of arc. So it would be lovely if you could just tell us something, a moment like that where you felt you were glad to be working in this public policy sector.
Maybe I tell this from Vietnam.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
please, please.
It is. Are you aware of the Reflect program by ActionAid?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
No.
Have I heard?
Okay. So Reflect, it's a methodology that support illiterate people, adults, mainly adults from 15 years to 60 years old, to learn how to read and write and calculate, and to become literate. But at the same time, bringing people together to make decisions on how they want to develop the community. So it is a literacy and community development approach. And the name is Reflect because it goes after the name of the Brazilian educator who created this methodology. So ActionAid was the first organization introducing it to Vietnam. And Central Highland, maybe you have heard of the Highland area in Vietnam. It used to be the area with 80 to 90% of population from ethnic minorities. And the illiteracy rate, it's very, very high there, very high there. And sometimes it's really up to 100%. And you mind you that the literacy rate in general in Vietnam, it's very high. Now this year it's about 95% or more. So you can see it's not that they are not literate, but they are not speaking the official language.
Yes.
And it prevents them from accessing to many services and problems and so on. So ActionAid introduced that program in the community. And in one field visit, I met with a woman who came to me, just take my hand and say, thank you very much. I say, yes, thank you for letting us come to your community. I say, no, thank you, because nowadays I can read and I will not mistake the coughing medicine for my child. Mistaking it with the spray to my coffee plantation. So you see, that's a moment I feel so moved. My heart is really skip a bit, and I say, okay, all of the hard work and so on, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. So she explained that one time she, because it looked similar to them, to her. So she actually, instead of giving the coughing medicine she took the spray to the coffee tea for her son to take. So it was really difficult, and luckily that they got emergency quick enough. But still, and she said that okay, because of that incident, then she decided to go to Reflect class at the evening. In the evening, we organized in the evening because community are busy during the day. So she go there, and then she, now can read and write, and she gave the feedback, and it's really moving. It's really moving for me.
I think that's a lovely story. Just showing how, we talk about public policy, sitting in boardrooms, we talk about like investment into government, we talk about development programs, and all of that is at such a macro level scale, it's at such a large scale. But then we come across moments like these where, like a mother is just happy that an initiative like that helped her care for her
Truly happy.
Like that's just such a wholesome moment.
That, I mean, the impact on humans, I mean,
Yeah.
they're just not, they're not numbers, they're
Exactly.
people. So
And also, I really feel it that once you educate a woman, you educate the whole village. It's not
We have a
just
saying like that.
one
Yes,
family.
We have a whole saying exactly like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you see it literally
Yeah.
in real life.
We do for sure. I mean, I think that's why even a lot of programs here in India have also kind of focused on that, because just recognizing the fact that education is an absolutely indispensable measure when it comes to gender justice. And I think as someone who's worked so extensively in this field, you can attest to that better than anyone. So I think thank you so much for this conversation. It's been an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. When we came into this, we thought it would just be like, a basic discussion
very
about
cookie cutter.
about public policy, how to
Yes,
get in
but
this field.
I mean,
But
it's such an interesting conversation, and we thank you so much for this.
yeah, for the
No,
stories,
thank you.
thank you for those.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for engaging. I like I say, I engage in discussion online like this many times, but it's also first time I have this chance engaging with potential young woman leader from India, and a country that I love a lot. I really sincerely appreciate that you try and you come this far to this level. So don't give up. Don't give up.
Noted.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Miss Thao, before
Yes,
you
yes.
go and we go, I would like to ask you, you said that you spent many years in the jungles of Vietnam and Laos. Is wildlife something that you go back to, I mean, regularly as a sort of escape from your work? Or is that a hobby?
In fact, maybe you feel it's strange, but I don't need it from my work. You see, because yeah, maybe it doesn't not real, but for me, my work is not my work. It's my passion.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't need escape, but yeah, I do spend time with family and friends in the forest sometimes. And a lot of the time I have a chance to be boasting about, okay, this is the primate, this is not primate. It's fun. It's fun. But I think those days give me the feeling and the understanding about how valuable the nature is to our own existence and our sustainability. So it actually helps a lot from my current work. I have two daughters. I'm a mother of two daughters.
Oh.
You see, like in the Vietnamese standard, I'm not a good mother. I don't produce sons.
Oh,
Sorry. Sorry for that. But I'm so blessed that my daughter, they also enjoy working with nature and people a lot. So yeah, I'm learning from them too.
Oh,
Thank
That's
you.
so nice.
very
I think that's
sweet.
really embodying the spirit of, parents learning from children, children learning from parents. And that's the kind of
No. They are very, young people like you, very smart. Now I'm feeling stressed also because you are
I
so
learned so much from you
smart.
in this 1 hour.
So nice.
It was a lovely conversation, and thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
Thank
All the
you.
best.